What's up, guys? It's been a minute. This is Chuckie Fuego, and I'm actually coming to you from Los Angeles, California. And today we're actually going to talk about different marijuana laws in different states. I actually have the pleasure of living in California, one of the great states that has had medical marijuana for the longest of time. I also was here when in January of I guess like a year or a year and a half ago now, we went recreational legal. I know for a while it was held back by the black market because money to be made, but now California is completely and utterly legal. So today we're gonna talk about California, we're gonna talk about Nevada, and we're gonna talk about New York. The only reason why I am picking those three states, of course, I live in California. Second, my wife and myself just had our 1-year marriage anniversary, and we drove all the way to Vegas to celebrate, and I experienced the medical recreational marijuana out there. And then just recently, I flew to New York to visit my aunt and to do a little bit of work. And I was able to kind of talk to a couple people that live there on a daily basis and kind of see where the laws are there now, because just recently they decriminalized marijuana. So let's take our first dab and we'll get started. I always like to mention what I'm dabbing. That's one thing that, I don't know, I just want people to kind of know the products that are out there. Today I'm dabbing House of Connoisseurs, Animal Mint crossed with Gorilla, and this is their live resin. And let's get to it. One thing I really do like about this concentrate right here is that it is a little sugary, and so when it does dab, it cooks really well. And I get a pretty decent hit. So let's do this. Oh yeah, I just got this new bowl right here where I actually keep the cap on and just light it from the bottom. And as soon as I see the concentrate to kind of just, start to cook a little bit, I let it cook. And then as you can tell, give it a little bit of time. And then here we go. Round two. Very smooth hit. Love it. All right, so let's get into it. So I also looked online just to make sure I had a lot of the information correct. Now, of course, online, things need to be sourced, things need to be cited. If you guys hear of anything or know of anything that I might have missaid, please leave a comment. Let me know exactly what is correct so everyone will know and learn. So, starting out in California, I moved out here about 7 years ago, and it was only medically legalized, and so I had to get my medical rec. Now, what was cool about California when I first got here 7 years ago is that sincerely it was like the Wild Wild West. I arrived in Venice, and at the time, you don't see it as much anymore, but at the time they had these guys skateboarding up and down Venice in these like lime green neon, like doctors looking suits. I mean, obviously they were not doctors, but you would go to these 3 kiosks. I think there's like 3 or 4 kiosks on the Venice Strip. You would sign up to have an appointment with the doctor. They would either skate you down Venice Strip to the spot where the doctor would then do your evaluation, or the evaluation happened right then and there, and it was just a doc in the box. You walk in, he asks you what you need medical marijuana for. For myself, it was lower back pain and sleeping and eating. He pretty much took my blood pressure, listened to my heart, said, okay, it's great. Here you go. Here's your recommendation. You are now, able to enjoy medical marijuana in the state of California. So that's how easy it is in the state of California. To this day, it still is that easy, and the charges that you usually get for a medical marijuana rec is around $35 to $50 a year. Now, of course, please take this to heart. Shop around when you're getting your medical rec. There's a lot of different places out there that do medical recs, meaning a lot of competition, meaning you can probably find a lower price for the full year. That's California. California is very simple when it comes to medical. Let's go to the other states. In the state of New York, you have to have a severe condition in order to qualify to get a medical card. Just recently, they just came out and said, listen, if you get caught with weed, it will be a misdemeanor. You will not get prison time. It will be a slap on the wrist and maybe a small fine. That is great. In my opinion, what that means is that they're moving towards a fully legal state, being both medically legal and recreationally legal. But right now, they're just tiptoeing towards it. They are medically legal, but as I'm about to show you in this list that I have right here, this is what it you know, this is what you have to have in order to be medically, have a medical rec in New York. As I said, California, super simple. New York, here we go. The qualifying conditions to obtain a medical marijuana card in NYC include severe and chronic pain, severe nausea, seizures, and severe muscle spasms, as well as life-threatening illnesses like cancer, HIV, AIDS, Parkinson's, MS, and ALS. So as you can tell, it's a little bit more stringent. I think that it's also, they just said that they recently opened up a program for PTSD. This is what I have listed for Nevada. In Nevada, the MMJ program charges a non-refundable application processing and registration fee of $50 annually and $100 every 2 years. So that's $50 annually and then $100 every 2 years. That's not bad for Nevada. And I know that in Nevada, I think it's pretty quick to get your digital rec within the first 24 hours. And then you get your actual rec mailed to you, I believe. Yeah, you get emailed in the first 24 hours, then your actual rec mailed to you. Like I said, I mean, they are recreationally legalized too. They're a fully legal state. But to be medical and to be able to get that medical product, which in some cases might mean more THC in your medicine, it's a little bit more stringent. This is what I found out when I went to Nevada with my wife. So I went to Nevada with my wife and I looked up all these dispensaries on Weed Maps. I found all these delivery services on the Vegas Strip, all right? I called them. They go, we can't deliver to you because you're at a hotel. So one main thing to realize when going to Vegas, guys, and consuming weed is you actually have to take an Uber or a Lyft or drive to a dispensary to pick up your own weed. You can't get it delivered to you at a hotel because right now, because it's still federally illegal and that's a resort, they don't allow marijuana on the actual premises. You have to actually have your own private property in Vegas if you want a delivery service to deliver to you. Just remember that when going to Vegas, because I had to learn the hard way. And so even if you actually get a smoking room in a hotel, beware of smoking flower. I would not smoke flower when going to Vegas. Also, smoking on the Strip, it's kind of a hazy kind of line. If you're being loud about it, I think that you're probably gonna get, you know, probably handcuffed, probably ticketed, and probably not have a good day. It's probably the same like if you drink too much, but weed on the Strip, keep it low key. Most cases, get a vape. That's the best thing to do when you're out and about. Now, when you get into the dispensaries, they are great. They're very, very beautiful. I went to one dispensary where it did take a while. There was a waiting room to get in. So it took me maybe 15, 20 minutes to wait to actually get called in by a bud tender who had a clipboard. Didn't look like a doctor, but had a clipboard, called me in and said, what can I help you with today? They actually walked me through the dispensary. They didn't go behind a booth or anything like that, or a bar. They were walking me through the dispensary, pretty much saying, what do you need? What would you like? The coolest thing about it was, is even though they're a recreational dispensary, I was still able to get a, I believe it was a 600 milligram syringe. Of course, that was edible, so I was able to put that under my tongue and have a great night. That's one thing that I'm finding really hard to find are outside of California, places that actually sell medical products that are above that 100 milligram limit, because we're seeing that almost across a lot of states. When I talked to the bud tender in Vegas, they're like, yeah, all of our edibles are pretty much 100 milligrams. The only things that are able to jump up above 100 milligrams are our 1,000 milligram syringes and our 600 milligram syringes. So just word to the wise, you know, in Vegas, it was hard for me to find medical products. I actually had to call around until I found this one dispensary, which hopefully I'll list below. And they had something above that 100 milligram range, because it gets pricey when you're having to spend 5 times, you know, 5 times on a candy bar to get 500 milligrams. It's ridiculous. And so that's usually why I go to dabbing. They still had concentrates and stuff like that. One thing that I learned while in that dispensary in Vegas are these funny growing laws in Vegas. Right now in Vegas, it's medically and recreationally legalized, but unlike California, if you as a patient, live 25 miles from a dispensary, you cannot grow marijuana. Even though it's recreationally legalized, you can't grow marijuana. That doesn't make any sense to me. If you have a medical rec in Vegas or in Nevada, there's an exception. I feel like you can ask and usually they'll give it to you. But I read that there's an exception to it. But I thought it was very ridiculous that in the state of Nevada, if you live within 25 miles of a dispensary, you cannot grow your own weed. Now, you live outside 25 miles of a dispensary, you can grow, I believe it's up to 6 plants, I believe. I think it's around 6 or 8 plants that you can do in Nevada if you're not in that 25 miles of a dispensary. Now, vice versa, if you're a dispensary, you have to buy your weed within 25 miles of your dispensary. So that means you have to find a cultivator that is licensed within 25 miles of you to supply you with weed. So I had this bud tender at this dispensary telling me that, yeah, they've sometime run low at the end of the month on flower and like have had to kind of wait a week or two. And that just blew my mind. I mean, it kind of made me want to pack up and move to Vegas, but then it made me think, well, how much is licensing when it comes to actually growing in Vegas? And the bud tender gave me a little more knowledge in that, and I looked it up and he was correct. It's a $30,000 licensing fee. So I think you pay about five or so $1,000 for the application, and then, you know, if approved and if you've put together everything when it comes to, you know, knowing where you're gonna grow, how you're gonna grow, you know, the electricity, everything, you know, is set up, then you can go ahead and do it for $30,000. So it's a lot of money. Of course, you get your stuff together, and I mean, if you're within 25 miles of a couple dispensaries, I mean, business is good. But such a weird law in Nevada, such a weird law. Guys, please comment below, like, let me know how you feel about that, because when I heard it and I was standing in that dispensary, it very much was just like, what? Like, in California, I could grow weed living right next to 10 dispensaries. It's really weird for me to hear that in Nevada, within 25 miles, you couldn't grow unless you were medically, you know, you're a medical patient and you asked for it, or you have to live outside of that 25 miles to grow. It's just a very, very, very funny law. Very, very funny law. I'm gonna take another dab. All right, what have we not hit on? What have we not hit on? What have I missed? What have I messed up on? One thing that I'd love to hit on is the benefits of having your medical rec. If you live in California, if you live in Nevada, if you live in New York, get your medical rec. I feel like if you're in any state, if you can get it, get your medical rec. It will always be a plus, and this is why it's always a plus. In California, I had a feeling that because recreational marijuana came about and there's all these regulations now and this, that, and the other, that the quality of the product was gonna go down. Mainly because we have a pump and dump society now. We have people making so much money growing flower on top of flower, producing concentrate on top of concentrate, and edible on top of edible. And just making money. I mean, pumping out things with just CBD in it and making money. Okay, I said it's not gonna be as good. Recreational, it's gonna put a strain on the economy of weed here in California, and it's actually gonna make it go down in quality. And in my opinion, it kinda has. Weed's still great here, don't get me wrong. It's the best in the US that I've smoked. Guys, comment below. What do you think's best in the US? But I feel like it's California because I've come from the South. I've smoked weed from the East Coast. I've smoked weed in Texas. I've smoked weed on the West Coast. I've smoked weed in Colorado. I've been to high times in Colorado. I've smoked so much weed in Colorado. It's okay, but California is the best. So when this recreational happened, I said, it's probably best to get my medical rec because that's where the best medicine is going to be. And that's what I've seen. And then another plus, and this is what is really gonna be the kicker for you guys, is that in California, if you go into a dispensary, make sure you let them know that you're medical if you have a medical rec. Call them maybe before going just to make sure, because some dispensaries in California are pop-ups, if we know what that means. Most that are legit, if you tell them that you're medical, you don't have to pay this exuberant 20+% tax on top of what you're buying. It actually jumps down to, I think, the normal of what it used to be of, I think it's either like between 7 and 9%. And that's huge for me. I mean, that's a lot of money saved over time. And as a medical patient, you're open to more medical products. One being, I noticed that if you go to medical places here in California, they have medical butter that is just, I mean, 1,000 milligrams. Cook with it. It's amazing. It's the best shit ever. And the flour just seems a little bit, I don't know, it just seems a little bit fresher. It doesn't seem like, you know, maybe it wasn't dried correctly or pulled too quickly because it needed to get out and they needed to, you know, get it to the dispensary, and money, money, money. I don't know, but I always feel that it is a benefit for you to have your medical rec. So always up to you guys. You guys decide what you want to do. But I have my medical rec, so I can go into both places. If I want to go to a rec place, I'll go into a recreational place. If I want to go into a medical place, I'll go into a medical place just to see what's there. One thing, guys, shop around. Please, please, please. This is an environment where you as the consumer have so many choices. So shop around. Like, just don't go to that one spot in Santa Monica because it's easy to go to and, you know, they always have what you're looking for. Maybe this other dispensary up in North Hollywood or, you know, down the road if you're in another state, maybe this other dispensary has the exact same product for $30 cheaper. I've seen it. I've seen 50% cheaper just by going a little bit to another area. So please, please, please shop around. Here are the benefits in Nevada of having your medical card. 10% savings on every purchase. Unlike recreational users, medical marijuana patients in Nevada are exempt from paying an extra 10% retail tax. Access to patients under 21. So of course, recreational being legal in Nevada, you have to be 21 and above. Medical in Nevada, there is somewhat of an exemption to where you can be under 21 and have a medical rec to get medicine. Thank you, Nevada, for doing that. That is awesome. In Nevada, if I had my medical rec with me when I went to Nevada, I'd be able to go to a medical spot and be cool. So that's amazing. California is not like that. Higher purchasing limits, ability to purchase 2.5 ounces of marijuana every 2 weeks compared to 1 ounce for recreational users. That's also something weird about Nevada, is that if you're a recreational user, you can only buy 1 ounce every 2 weeks. Now, I know a lot of recreational users, but an ounce to me, it seems a little bit, low. Even if, I don't know, you buy that ounce, and it's not just gonna be you smoking it. And so that means that you can't buy an ounce for another 2 weeks. It just makes me feel like I don't know, they don't do that with beer. You can only buy up to this amount of beer and, every 2 weeks. And so it kind of makes me feel like, of course, it's gonna be a snail pace to get to that point when it comes to marijuana. I don't know why. But that's just something to look at, because as a Californian, I know people that buy ounces every couple days, if not every week. And so every 2 weeks, it was kind of weird for me to read that. All right, so I'm gonna stop babbling because I think I've said enough, and I'm gonna round this off like I'm gonna do with every single one of my episodes with my last little part called Baked Bakes. And my wife has baked me something. This right here is a Bakewell tart. And you can check out everything that she bakes. It's at British Baking Bee on Instagram. You will see British cakes, pastries, and treats on that Instagram. So check her out. But I'm gonna taste real quick. Probably something that you guys definitely want right now. I wish you guys could experience what I'm experiencing right now. It is so good to have a wife that's a baker. This is so good. I think this was made with, you said, oh wait, I'm just gonna say what I remember because I don't know what you just said. It says like regular flour, unbleached.
Sweet short crust pastry.
Wait, okay, so sorry guys, here we go. Sweet short crust pastry. Raspberry jam. Almond frangipane. I have no idea what the fuck that is.
Sprinkled with sliced almonds on top.
And then sprinkled with sliced almonds on top. Check her out. British Baking Bee. Alright, so, so good. That's it for today. I talked for way too long, and remember guys, if I said anything wrong, if there's something that you need to correct me on, I love knowledge, I love learning. I love moving forward. I hope that you guys do too. So please let me know if I'm wrong, because I like to learn. So yeah, you guys have a good day. I'm gonna try to do this every Sunday, pump them out on Monday so that you guys have something to watch when you get off of work about weed. So deuces. I will see you guys next time.